Welcome. Ziggy1X here with another NieR reincarnation video, and it is time to dive into what is coming. Now, this is going to be a very spoiler-heavy video, so I'm just saying this at the onset. The first part of this is going to be everything that has already been announced in-game, but then I'm going to put up a great big old spoiler banner if you want to see some of the news and updates first, and then duck out and come back after the release and the updates have dropped. That's fine, go ahead and do that. But I'm going to post that banner. It's going to be spoiler time, and we're going to dive into it completely disregarding all norms. So this is going to be a first for me. So let's go ahead and dive in right now. Let's go through, first of all, the things that are going to be introduced in the game that have already been announced and or implied. First of all, we're going to be getting a new exploration mission, which is going to be something akin to a rhythm game. So that'll be kind of interesting. I want to see where that goes. So stay tuned for that. That should be dropping again with all of this other content. The next thing that we've already experienced here is a change to the daily missions. Now, the daily missions have been, you got to do a lot to get through those daily missions. And I could see how that over time can become a bit of a chore if you're just basically logging in to pick up the minimum. And so this change right here basically allows you to pick up everything that you did before and then some, cutting out some of the useless items, but we're getting 70 full small stamina recovery pots, and we're still getting the 50 gems off of 5 missions, one of those missions being to summon, so your daily free 5 summon. And in that daily free 5 summon, not only are you getting the possibility of getting something new and exciting, but you're also getting a piece of Zenith, a piece of Black Pearl, which is 1/10 of each, and then advanced handbook. So basically 1/10, 1/10, 1/10. You need 10 advanced handbooks to raise the upward level cap of your costume, and then you need 10 of these pieces to get a single Zenith or Black Pearl. So this is nice. Basically, after 10 days, you have a whole of each. So this is a great change. I really like this. Now, let's talk a little bit about the Appreciation Gala paid packs. So we have our 3 tiers of packs. And these guys, as you can see here, we got our big super dog class, we've got our medium and our small packs. Now, what you'll notice here is that the paid gem amount hasn't changed at all. But what has changed is the amount of free gems we get from the paid packs. So this is pretty nice. I'm a fan of this. Another thing that we have gotten is we've gotten the return of the monthly pass. And if you are still shopping for those awakening stones, those generic awakening stones, this is the best way to get a hold of them. And I would suggest picking one of those up. The next thing we've gotten is this one-time purchase for 500 gems. Now, I went ahead and used this guy to pick up that 500 paid banner. And I got myself Yuletide Saryu. That's cool. It was a unit I didn't have. And while I was hoping for New Year Yuri, of course, but I didn't get her off that one. So there's a few good things in the shop here. I recommend that if you are boning up on paid resources in the game, the anniversaries are typically the best time to do this because those are typically the most generous packs. What I will say here as well is that developers, please, these packs are better, but they're not great. When you're doing an anniversary, you could beef this up even more and you could make it really a celebration with those packs. You're going to get more people investing into them. You're going to get people who typically wouldn't buy into it, interested in buying into it because it is a celebration. It's an anniversary. Everybody wants to participate and have a good time. And if the deal is sweet enough, you will get those people buying into it. Just food for thought. Okay, so what's next? Karma. Let's talk actually first, the mama point. We got 4 new remnants added and now karma. Okay, karma, what is karma? So when this drops, and this is all from the in-game notices, there will be a specific daily mission that will gift the player karma stones, which can be used in turn to unlock karma slots on a specific costume. This is a costume, not a character. So you can't use your karma stones on, say, Griff, and all of Griff's costumes unlock karma slots. That's not the way this works. The way this is designed is to be a long burn, sort of like the Mythic Slab board. The Mythic Slab board took a really long time to get that initial completion done, and 99% of us are still working on completing all of our Mythic Slab boards. And so this is a slow burn, much like that. Now, what does this guy do for you? Okay, so it's a costume, not a character. On each specific costume, you use these karma stones to unlock karma slots. You can get up to 3 karma slots per costume. Okay, so what do these karma slots do for you? Well, first of all, you can perform something called karma flux. Now, interesting choice of words. Flux, continual movement. This implies very strongly that this is going to be a heavy RNG-based system, which will involve a lot of min-maxing to get the best out of something. Okay, so these sorts of systems can be a lot of fun for the min-maxers. I'm one of these guys. I enjoy going into a game. I remember my days back in the day playing Diablo 3, for example. I used to grind the heck out of Diablo 3. And I would go in there and you go on those farming runs and you get the same piece of equipment over and over again, but you get better stats on it, or you get a slightly better piece to complete the set and things like that. This is sort of the same deal that we're experiencing with this. And I suspect that there will be a lot of min-maxing, and there will be, for those people who are into just getting absolute, it's the same thing as the memoirs, but a little bit different because it's focused on a specific costume. For those people who are into this sort of thing and you know who you are going to get a lot of enjoyment out of the system. You're also going to get the benefits, and we'll list these here. So you're going to gain 3 specific costume or karma slots. Now, what these slots will be used for, they're going to be used for specific abilities. Again, I guess that these are going to be RNG-based abilities. Now, they're going to be unique abilities per costume. So say, for example, Yuri is typically an offensive type character. That means that her 3 karma slots will, generally speaking, probably be more offensive focused. Let's say you have Udil, who has a tank form. Maybe some of his, or maybe celebratory Udil's costume, when that comes around, we'll get to that here in a minute, but maybe that costume will be more defensive focused. Maybe there will be Indomitable built into there and a couple other things, these really nice abilities we've been getting to either increase the upward damage of the costume or to increase the survivability of the costume. And there will very likely be general kind of non-specific abilities like increased attack, increased HP, increased defense, things like that. And so once we have these guys squared away, there's probably going to be a really easy way to just fill out all of your karma slots. Again, daily karma stones, or daily stones from these daily missions where we get these stones. We don't know how many stones we're going to be getting per daily mission. Maybe it's just 1, maybe it's more, maybe it's a half of 1. Who knows at this point? But regardless, we're going to be opening up those karma slots, and we're going to be performing karma flux. Karma slots open to increase the abilities of the character or the costume, and the karma flux is how you basically inject those abilities, as well as increasing the stats of a character. And this is all going to be randomized, so you're probably going to be doing a lot of re-rolling with this. Okay. So this is all going to drop on the 17th, and it's going to be probably talked about a little bit more in the live stream, which is going to be dropping the 10th. So all this stuff is coming up pretty soon. The live stream in just over a week, and the big update in about 2 weeks. Okay, so only applicable costumes will be eligible for karma slots and karma flux. What does this mean? Well, the newest costumes that we've gotten, starting with Divine Prisoner. So the Divine Prisoner banner, everything that launched at that point and after, will be eligible for karma. So that means our popularity contest banner, where we have 10 costumes on there, maybe these costumes are all going to be eligible for karma. That would be kind of cool. And again, just to reiterate, karma is the new enhancement system being introduced in the game, much like Awakenings, much like Mythic Slab, and much like raising the level cap to 100. This is basically a 4th addition to enhancing, actually a 5th technically, because we have remnants as well, which also increases the capabilities and baseline stats of our costumes and characters. And so this is technically phase 5 of that. And so from this, what we're getting is we are getting a new way of customizing our individual costumes. We can if it allows us, we can bring what would normally be just a straight up attacker into a arena situation with all of these heavily defensive focused passives, and they could survive hits unlike what they normally would be able to. These are the sorts of things that we can play with. There's going to be a whole lot of different experimenting and ideas going around. I could see the Discords and the Reddit kind of getting excited about this, people speculating and talking and sharing their best ideas, running into an enemy in arena that just absolutely floors you because it has such a unique combination of new abilities. This is something that's really exciting for me. So I'm looking forward to it. Karma is going to be a really good thing, and the best part about it is it's going to be entirely free to play friendly. It's just going to basically require that investment of time. It's going to require the player making smart decisions with their account. It's going to require the commitment, and it's going to just require getting into the grind and enjoying that grind. And a big part of the reason why we play these types of games is because we do enjoy that grind. You guys actually may hear this, but my middle child is upstairs bouncing around like a lunatic, and my ceiling is shaking from it. Her bedroom is right above me. So, okay, that's, if you guys hear bouncing and maybe a chandelier or something in here swinging, that's what's going on there. Anyways, moving on. So let's see where we're at next. Okay, so only the applicable costumes. Karma Flux is going to be, how do you perform Karma Flux? It's going to be used, it's going to be performed using existing gold materials for characters and weapon enhancements that we already have in the game, with maybe some new additions thrown in. That means that basically any of your 3-star weapon or character enhancement materials should be able to be used for Karma Flux. So if you haven't sold those, if you have been picking up those items from every one of our rerun events and all these other things, you're probably going to have quite a big supply of these kind of set aside. I'm a kind of a prepper when it comes to these things. I basically find something that I think might be useful, and then I stick it to the side and hope that someday it becomes useful. If you don't believe me, just look at my garage. My garage is a mess because I just hold on to stuff, and I have a hard time getting rid of stuff sometimes if I think it's going to be useful at some point. Same deal here. People, weirdos like me, are going to benefit from this because we've already held on to all of our materials and didn't sell them. So moving on from that, added bonus, fully unlocked Karma Flux costumes will enter the battle with different animations. Okay guys, I know that the min-maxing is exciting. I know that increasing the power of your character is exciting. But one of the reasons why we play this game is because it is beautiful. It is a beautiful game. The developers have absolutely done an astonishing job in creating just an absolutely polished piece of art. And what they're doing is they are taking this Karma system and using it as a way of introducing new animations for our costumes. This excites me. The artist inside of me, all of these little parts of me, the part of me that just will turn a battle on auto and leave it playing at regular speed just to watch the animations and just to watch how beautifully designed the game is, gets really excited about this. So I'm gonna nerd out a little bit on that, and I cannot wait to see that because we're gonna be seeing something new and exciting. By the way, this is the reason why they're very likely gonna be introducing the system slowly over time, is because it takes a little bit of time to reanimate a costume. You got to go through and do your thing. And judging by the level of quality, the product that we've received in this game, they're going to take their time doing it. They're going to do it right. Eventually, we will have Karma and Karma Flux for all of our costumes, but it's not going to be that way at first. There's a lot of work on their end to get us to that point. Okay. So there will be also, and this is still pretty vague, but there will also be special missions added depending on acquired Karma and Flux. So presumably, again, this means that we will have additional missions based off of what we've done in terms of Karma. Okay, now we're gonna move into the spoiler section. So I'm gonna throw up that big old spoiler banner right now. And all of you here watching who do not want to be spoiled on what's coming for the first part of Anniversary, I will give you a moment to go ahead and exit the room. I'll patiently wait, and then I'll get started. Okay, here we go. So the next Recollection of Dust character that we will be receiving is Noelle. She's going to be coming in with a fire arena weapon, which looks great. It's a spear. And so this is going to give our two of our best snipers, Brother NieR and abstract or alternate NieR and Summer Noelle, another weapon to play with in the arena. So this is very cool. And now that we're getting 2 of each type of weapon, we have 2 light weapons, we have 2 fire weapons, we're going to go 2 water weapons. These weapons all buff each other. They buff the damage of their related element. So this is another way to increase the overall damage that you're doing in the arena. Another cool thing. The costume itself looks great. It's a solid costume. And from what I hear, I haven't read it yet myself, and I'm going to wait until the actual event drops, but the story is exceptional. And judging by what we saw with Recollection of Dusk Lars, actually Demos, it was a beautiful story, I thought. And these others, it's we're getting some really high quality content from those. And so I'm very excited about that. Now, the new anniversary costumes here, they are going to be called festive costumes, not celebratory, but festive. So the new series is going to be festive. And to get the mood set properly for that, we're going to go ahead and read the costume description. All right, I'm going to try my best dramatic reading here to get it right. Ritual garb tends to be unconventional, and those who don it are no normal people. They perform a special function, and their apparel is proof of their exceptional nature. Their garb attracts the attention of the masses, effortlessly enrapturing them. Will they become stars on the stage, fated to bask in cheers? Or are they doomed to play the pitiable jesters? They are actors. They are jesters. They perform tragedies. They perform comedies. Laugh, cry, seethe, scream. They appeal to the crowd. For if they don't, obscurity awaits. I like it. I like it a lot. And now let's go ahead and throw up our 2 new costumes. We'll start with Theo here, who's going to be our first costume that we're getting, Festive Theo. So let's talk about this a little bit. These are going to be single costume banners. This is a change, and there is good and bad here. Now, personally, I have been asking for single costumes to appear on banners because I've seen a similar system over in another game that I play, War of the Visions, and I very much like that system where a single costume has a rate up, and it's depending on what the rate up is, depending on what the pull rate is, it may or may not be a wash, but that's the first part of it. So each banner is going to last 1 week. That's the first downside. But each banner is going to share a pity with the next banner, meaning that presumably we have 4 costumes coming for these festive units, maybe 5. I think we're going to be getting a welfare Argo, but the costumes that we know of are Theo and Gale, and then the 2 that we do not know of, but we're speculating on, because if it was these 2 costumes, it would follow precisely the same order as what we got in the first half-year anniversary. The next 2 costumes would be Griff and Noelle. And so what that means is that we're basically going to be mirroring at the 2.5 year anniversary, the 0.5 year anniversary. Presumably this would mean that everything would repeat. This is speculation, but it would mean that everything would repeat in much the same order, which means that the festive costume series would end at the 4-year mark. Okay, so here we go. First costume is Theo, and this is coming out today or tomorrow. And then after that, a week later, when the Theo costume ends, the Gale costume will be dropping. Okie dokie. So this may be scary at first, so bear with me. All of these costumes, presumably, share the same pity, which means that if you get lucky and you pull Theo in the first, or if you wait on Theo and you get lucky and pull Gale in the second, that means that you could go back and pity Theo, even if you didn't pull on the Theo banner. That right there is a nice feature. The pity has been lowered from 200 to 150. Another nice feature. That means that we will get more pities out of this. Now, we do not know what the free gem step up looks like. If it was to share the same method as the previous anniversary step ups, then it would start with a discounted gem rate, and then it would move up to an increased gem rate, but it would still basically even off at a little bit less than what we usually would pay for 200 pulls. 200 pulls is 60,000 gems. Typically with the anniversary banners, I believe it was 48,000 gems. So this is going to be, if nothing is changed, if it's just 3,000 per step, this means that it's going to be 45,000 gems for this. So it's only going to be 3,000 gems less. So that is kind of good and bad because you're getting less pulls out of it. So we will see. This is, again, there's a lot of unknowns here, but one of the things that is known is that we will have a 9,000 gem paid step up, 3 steps, that will guarantee us the costume, the featured costume. So if you're doing this on Gale's banner, 9,000 paid gems, you're guaranteed a single copy of Gale at the end of that step up. For some of us, that's nice. For others of us, who cares, because we're not going to spend money on gems. There we go. So it really depends on your play style. But regardless, the paid and the free gems are going to share the same pity. So this is going to be excellent. This is going to be really, really good in that sense. And I do prefer it when the paid and the free share the same pity, because if you dip in a little bit on the paid, then you're basically losing all the shards from that as soon as you start pulling on the free, and you can never really capitalize on what you got from the paid. So this is a good feature. I like it a lot. Okay, let's talk about what comes up next here. Okay, let's talk about the costumes actually. So what are we going to be getting? There is a new feature that's being added to the game, and it may have something to do with the Series 2 costumes, not these first two. But here we have Theo. Now Theo is going to be a top tier fire damage dealer. She's going to have a 5-hit character skill with a lot of damage coming out of it, tied to fire. She's going to have great stats, and she's basically going to be a mirror image stats-wise to Gale, who's going to be a wind specialist. Their modifiers on their character skills are going to be almost precisely the same, except for Gale's damage bonus is going to increase off of wind and pursuit, and Theo's damage bonus is going to increase off of fire and crit damage. So that's the way that added damage is going to scale. So they are going to be different. I am missing a wind DPS, a dedicated wind DPS, so I am definitely going for Gale. And a fire DPS, well, I was talking in my last video about maybe holding off on Abyssal Mirror You Deal. Theo is the reason why, because she basically unlocks her full potential at Awakening 0, where Abyssal Mirror You Deal has to get to Awakening 3 to unlock his full potential. So you need 4 copies of him versus 1 copy of Festive Theo. Now, first of all, guys, look at these costumes. These are just absolutely beautiful, beautiful costumes. And yes, the clown meme exists, but there's a they're performers, they're stage performers. Okay, so stats for both of them almost identical, top tier across the board. Again, they're all going to be eligible for karma, so be advised to that. The weapons are fine. They're not must-haves. Really, the reason why you would pull either of these 2 costumes is A, because you want to, you appreciate the aesthetic. That's a wonderful reason to pull on these costumes. But B, because you need either a fire damage specialist or a wind damage specialist. I could actually stand to do with both. My best fire damage dealer is my Awakening 0 Fabled Akehon from the Sinnoh Alice collaboration. Excellent, top tier damage dealer still, and but Theo's better. So that's food for thought. Gale, definitely getting her. Theo, maybe. And we'll see what comes with the next 2. Now, let's talk about those costumes a little bit. We've talked about what's coming here, and you've seen the artwork. It's beautiful. I can't be more excited about this. But let's talk a little bit about something that came up. There's a new icon that has appeared, and it appears to be either a counter or reflect mechanic. Now, we can speculate on what those means. A reflect mechanic could, in theory, be reflecting damage, a percentage of damage dealt. So if a reflect mechanic is up, and say it's a provoking unit, that means that your units have to attack it. And so if that happens, then I would say in theory, a percentage of the damage dealt is then reflected back on the attacking character. That would be something like how you would see a reflect mechanic work. That could be horrifying. And that would basically force everybody to beef up their units. You wouldn't be able to use squishy units anymore. Think like on an auto attack when a character attacks and the unit gets countered. That's the sort of thing I'm talking about here. Now, a counter effect could be something to where if the unit gets attacked with the effect, then they counter immediately, which could basically be the exact same thing, effectively be the exact same thing. But this is where my head's at on this. Basically, what does that mean for us? It means that the Series 2 units on the anniversary, either the festive Noel or the festive Griff, probably Griff if we're being honest here, but the festive unit is going to have this new mechanic introduced. So they're going to drop these really great looking units right off the bat, and then they're going to introduce a new mechanic in Series 2, kind of like what they did last anniversary with F66X, celebratory F66X. She was the surprise unit, and she's really good. So she didn't change the game, but she was our second really meta healer in the game, and she's excellent. I'm really glad I got a hold of her. So this is probably going to be talked about at length in the live stream on the 10th. Unfortunately, I'm basically just going to kind of be waiting on how that comes along. I'll probably tune in and watch some of Cabbage's coverage because he's going to be posting his own updates on the live stream translations, and I'll be watching it myself, just kind of getting a tone and tenor. If anybody's in the chat who is able to translate, great, I'll take that as well. But yeah, so that's going to be that part of it. And I think that really sums it up for the spoiler portion. So we've got a lot coming. We've got potentially new game modes coming. We've got a big new mechanic coming for unlocking potential of our characters. And by the way, whenever a big new game mechanic that increases the power of our characters is introduced, a new challenge is going to be introduced. Right now, we currently have fate boards, and we're just about capped out on fate boards. Fate boards, by the way, has been awesome. I have loved fate boards. And so we can look forward to, presumably, a new feature in the game that will incorporate these new powerful unlocked abilities within our characters and costumes. So be looking forward to that as well. What are your thoughts? I'm interested to hear it in the comments. I'll post this over on Reddit as well, so interested to hear it in the comments there. But what are your thoughts? Are you guys excited for the anniversary? Are you guys looking forward to either of these two costumes? Are you planning on picking them up? Or are you going to just dip back over into the player choice banner, which is excellent? Now that you know that we have a wind DPS and a fire DPS, and we currently have Abyssal Boar up, and we have the NieR Yuri in the player choice banner, are you just going to opt for them instead of this new banner? Let me know. In the meantime, peace out, y'all. Have a good one. Bye.